for the truth and getting to the bottom of the story. Larry Barker investigates on KRQE News 13. Another way we're earning your trust.
She was here,
but now she is not. A well-paid governor's appointee who is still being paid has vanished from Santa Fe. Ask her co-workers where she is and you get a classic runaround. Ask her boss, well then the story gets really interesting. And News 13 investigative reporter Larry Barker has it.
Meet 28-year-old Nicole Gillespie.
Nicole is one of the most professional, best employees that this state has.
Nicole is a $60,000 a year governor's exempt policy analyst and public information officer for the New Mexico Department of Finance, or DFA. So where do you find, quote, the most professional, best employee in the state? How about the DFA office in Santa Fe?
I'm trying to find Nicole Gillespie.
She works in the office of the secretary if you go all the way down the hall.
I'm trying to find Nicole Gillespie.
Yeah, she's not here, like Kim said, but is there a question I can answer?
Do you know if Nicole's in?
I don't.
Okay, I'm here to see Nicole Gillespie.
What did you need to see her about?
Well, I was just dropping in on her. No, I didn't have an appointment. I've talked to her in the past. I wanted to just drop in and say hi.
Oh, okay. She's not in yet, so do you want to leave a card?
Do you know when she'll be back?
I don't know what her schedule's like today, so she might be in a little later.
But Nicole won't be back a little later. In fact, she won't be back at all. That's because DFA's policy analyst doesn't work here. She doesn't work in Santa Fe either. She doesn't even work in New Mexico. So where the heck is Nicole? Well, Frank knows.
Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town.
That's right. The Windy City is home to the Chicago Cubs, the Chicago Dog, and Nicole Gillespie. New Mexico's most professional, best employee works more than 1,000 miles from Santa Fe. Jeff Varela was Governor Richardson's first personnel director.
Can a New Mexico public servant do the work for the people from Chicago?
It sure baffles me how that can be accomplished, Larry.
State Representative Al Park has served in the legislature for 10 years.
I can't actually really fathom a state employee who actually does not live in the state of New Mexico and does actually not work in the state of New Mexico. The whole point of being a state employee is that you live and work in New Mexico.
What's going on here? Well, back in April, Nicole Gillespie packed her bags, cleared out her Santa Fe office, and moved to Chicago to deal with family issues.
Rather than drop Nicole from the state payroll, DFA Secretary
Catherine Miller arranged for her to phone it in. She's telecommuting.
Nicole is paid $170 a day to handle public records requests and media calls from an unspecified private office somewhere in Illinois.
Do you know where that private office is?
I do have the address of that office.
Is it a residence? Is it in
I don't
somebody's
think
home?
that's a relevant question.
Now, DFA does have a strict policy that allows employees to temporarily work outside the office. To qualify for telework, the employee must file a request and justify it to taxpayers.
Here's Nicole's request, but I don't see the justification on this form.
The policy also states that under extenuating circumstances, a agency head can actually make exceptions to the policy.
And justification is not the only exception. Because telework is supposed to be temporary, no more than 3 months, a beginning and end date must be specified. In Nicole's case, there is no end date.
There's no specified end date.
The maximum time that she would be under this arrangement would be 8 months.
Which is the end of Governor Richardson's term
of this administration, yes.
Has she indicated that she's going to be coming back?
That's not relevant to her current work arrangement.
I'm asking you, did she indicate to you that she's going to return to work to DFA?
And I'm telling you that that's not relevant.
Does it appear that DFA is following its own policy as it relates to Nicole Gillespie?
Unfortunately, no. I don't know what Ms. Gillespie's extenuating circumstances are because they're not documented. And that's the real issue, is DFA has a policy, and that policy needs to be followed for each and every employee to guarantee fairness and equity, and it doesn't appear to have been done in this case.
How do the taxpayers benefit from having an employee move away from the state but keep their state job?
Well, you know, you kind of scratch your head for a moment when you try to think of what the actual savings are to the taxpayers.
How do the taxpayers save money by paying a state employee who lives in Chicago to do the work of New Mexico?
To bring somebody on, I would need to bring somebody on, double fill that position, train them on the items that Nicole was currently working on. Nicole already has that experience.
Every state employee needs to fill out the paperwork, qualify properly, and have it be approved. And when you start having special privileges for one employee, that results in a disgruntled workforce. And we have state employees who are working hard, working for less, taking furlough days. We need to make sure that every single one of them is treated fairly.
Jeff, in your opinion, is this deal by the book?
Well, name me the book.
Larry Barker, KRQE News 13.
Okay, by email, Nicole says she will probably stay in Chicago for the rest of the Richardson administration. Miller said she didn't know how many of her 185 employees actually telecommute, but she promised she would let us know. She has not.